Welcome, Trinny Woodall, founder and CEO of Trinny London. Thank you so much for joining us on Street Signs this morning, Trinny. We were just saying off air, in 2017, you came up with the idea for Trinny London and everyone said to you, it's not going to work. No, I'm sorry. Yeah. Here we are, $250 million later. How did you do it?
I think there's so many stages, Tanya, but definitely that early stage when you have an idea and you want to get it out your head on the kitchen table, it's how you do that. And I used to follow this guy on Instagram called Gary Vaynerchuk, who we know from Vaynerchuk Media, and he would always say, what can you sell? What can you sell in your home? You know, to boys it would be trainers. And I looked around, I had this journey in fashion, so I thought I got to sell my clothes. I wasn't earning money anymore, living in a house that was too expensive. But I had to go on that journey of self-funding, really knowing that this is what I wanted to do and taking that highest risk. And then when it was ready, going out for investment, which had its challenges for sure, but telling the story so people could hear what I wanted them to hear. And I think how we tell the story of what we want to build is crucial as female founders going for investment to a predominantly male investment.
That's what I was going to ask you next, because you saw our highlights from our whole week of trying to close the gender gap and women in different industries. When you went, first of all, to the investors, were they predominantly male, and how did you speak to them? How did you get them to listen to you?
We need to think about it on a broader level, that when you're going, and a DC brand in 2016, I went for investment, and you had cyber mattresses, you know, Casper mattresses, you had this kind of real fast track growth, new customers, don't worry about the bottom line. That was the zeitgeist of that moment. So therefore, when you go in and say, I want to get great, strong cohorts as customers, and it's more important that I build on bricks and not quicksand, they're listening to the last pitch in the room. And it's very difficult, VCs, listening to the last pitch in the room to really be able to be objective and say, what is actually the future? But I spoke to a lot of VCs who might say, love your idea, but women in their 30s and 40s won't buy online. You should make it for millennials and the Gen Z. And I was like, the gap in the market is actually here. So that's where you get this classic thing. They'll bring in a secretary and say, would you buy this, you know? And you kind of think, okay, I get that, but it's like, really? But then I think we think, wow, but then if I was a woman and I was funding, which I hope one day I will fund other female businesses, because that is my dream. And somebody comes in the room, whether they're a man or the woman, and if I don't get the idea, I do want to test, would somebody else get it? But it's unfortunate for us that, you know, a predominantly male VC might bring in one of their assistants, say, would you buy this? I had to realize also I had to change how I told my story. So, you know, I knew all the figures in my head, and I had this, you know, I wanted to tell the vision. So those first few meetings, I wanted to bring somebody in on the whole idea. And sometimes you need to do chunk pieces. We're going to do this and get to here by doing this. And then we're going to do this. And then people can follow how you're going to do it. And then they don't feel I'm lost in this execution. So I had to learn that for myself to the investment community. Whether weirdly it's male or female, I had to learn it as a founder.
Do you think the direct-to-consumer model of your startup, Trinny, helped you during the pandemic?
It was a pivotal moment, because I think we were in a perfect storm. We had grown, we had got good cohorts, we had grown steadily. And then during lockdown, you know, we had personalization, we had a match to me system, so people actually could go straight away and know what suited them. And every other beauty brand had been perhaps predominantly retail, so they had to take longer to get to have an online presence. And we did, you know, triple, quadruple the business during lockdown.
How do you so effectively harness the power of social media and, you know, use it to your advantage when it can be so difficult to navigate and so difficult to understand how to really embrace it and use it to your advantage?
I think it has to be, and this is such a word that doesn't say what it is, authentic. I cannot bear the word because I find it so inauthentic, but it is that you know, building a business in today's world, in the industry I'm in, is about heralding a community of women and talking in a language they understand. So social media can be incredible to do that, and talking in an unfiltered way and not talking with, you know, lovely airbrushed photography and the aspiration of beauty how it used to be, which is here's a 20-year-old and I'm going to sell you these products and you're 35. You know, we want realism. We also want aspiration, and the balance between realism and aspiration is really crucial, because you still think I can do that. So social media allows you to be honest and candid and bring people on a journey. And we have this Trinny Tribe community around the world on Facebook, some 120,000 women. Whenever we go to a new area, we activate that community, and they are our vested champions. And it's like having this fantastic echo chamber.
Have you been surprised at the reaction? It's been so positive around the world. You've just been given an award by International Women's Wear Daily in New York. Has it shocked you?
I think the thing that shocked my daughter most is I sat next to Hailey Bieber, who was also getting an award, and she said, you must say hello to her. And next door was what I thought was her younger brother, and I said, hello, what's your name? And he went, Justin. And my daughter was mortified. But there's certain pinch me moments. So pinch me moment probably was definitely getting Best Skincare Award in America, where we're just entering now. And we localized our distribution recently, and that's a big step for a company. So we localized to Australia and started some stores there. And that's been amazing, going from, we were 14% revenue in Australia, and now we're at 23% revenue. So seeing that kind of growth, for me, sustainable growth, is what we're after.
Just finally, Trinny, we're coming to the end of our coverage for International Women's Week. What's your advice for young women entrepreneurs?
I would say, if you've got a job, if you've got an idea and you go out there, you need to stick to your own lane. Because if you think, oh, what are they doing and what are they doing, it takes away your sense of your vision and your belief in your doing what you know and you've woken up every morning thinking, I love. And it dilutes your proposition the more you think, oh, what are they, just stick to your lane.
That's fascinating advice, and it's so hard not to make comparisons and get distracted, so I'm going to take that for sure.
Trinny, thank you so much for joining us. We're wishing you every luck with Trinny for the future, Trinny London.
Tanya.